Hello students. So, answer key for the next assignment that has been posted in Math 8. And it's kind of an overlap because myself, Mrs. Dye, and Mrs. Golden are kind of working together providing the materials. So the assignment actually starts on page 11, and the first two choices are the last two problems that we did off the last assignment. So hopefully you're able to get those two problems correct. And then this is going to go on to page 17, so I'm just going to work through the problems until we get to page 17, and this would be your answer key for you to check your work. And then you can make your second attempts. So, all right. So I'm starting to see, like, there are definitely some problems embedded in here with this idea of, this is called scientific notation, of what this means and operations with it. So I'll try to do my best to give you the crash course, so to speak. But a number 19 here, and yes, you are going to notice that these numbers do jump around, like you're going from 12 to 19, because these are all released questions, and not every question is released from the state. All right, so how many times as much as the number of students at Penn Grove University as the number of students in Allentown University? So Allentown University has approximately 3 times 10 to the third students. Now, what 3 times 10 to the third is, it's 3 times a 1 with 3 zeros after it. So this is really 3,000. So what is 3,000 compared to 30,000 here? Okay, and it's a factor of 10. Okay, it's a factor of 1 0, and every 0 is a 10. All right, number 20. All right, a series of transformations. Remember, the angle measures are congruent. The side lengths are twice as long. It is a dilation. Okay, a dilation is where the size changes. The angles will stay congruent. Remember, in a dilation, angles are still going to be congruent to each other, but the sides are proportional. Okay, in a rotation, reflection, and translation, sides are equal, angles are equal. Right. On to page 13, number 21. Function 1 is given by the equation. Function 2 is by the graph below. Which of the following functions are all the output values less than -1? Okay? Meaning that every y value has to be less than -1. Okay? So if I were to start to graph this function on here, so let's say I started to graph out, started -2, has a -4 or 5 slope, which means I go down 1, 2, 3, 4 to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I'm out, so I could go up 1, 2, 3, 4 to the left, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this would be a line that would look like this. Now, I'm going to draw a little line right where all the y values are -2, and that's that line right there. And you can clearly determine that this function, the line, is going to have outputs that are greater than -1. Whereas the parabola here, well, you don't even know it's called a parabola yet, but this shape, so only function number 2 is the answer to that one. All right, moving on. Number 22. Translated. 6 units right, 1 unit up. So we could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and up 1, G prime. We could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and up 1, H prime. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and up 1. This would be F prime, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and up 1 would be J prime. All right, so that would be my new one. And which statement about the side lengths are true? Actually, to be honest, didn't even need to plot it to answer this question, because in a translation, the sides are the same. So if FG is 6, FG is 6, or I'm sorry, FG is 3, which means that F prime G prime would be 3. GH is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which means that G prime H prime would be 5. So they'd have to have the same length. The answer to that one being A. All right, 27. Solve the system below. All right, so this one's going to take a couple minutes. But actually, there is something to talk about. Remember when we talked about how... Let's go to regular equations. So this is like a little mini lesson off to the side here for you guys. But do you remember the difference between if it was 3x plus 2 is equal to 3x plus 2, or if it was something like 3x plus 2 is equal to 3x minus 7? And then we talked about how if it's exactly the same, there are infinite solutions. Okay? Whereas here, if they were not, like if these were the same but these were different, these had no solutions. Well, in a system, that kind of happens as well. But watch what happens when I try to solve this. I would have to multiply the top equation by like a negative number. So I end up with negative 2x minus 4y equals negative 10. And what ends up happening when I try to solve this, now, remember, we have to have opposites here. I mean, you may or may not remember, but in order to solve a system, you have to have opposites to cancel out. So what happens is the x's and the y's cancel out, and you end up with 0 equal to negative 20. It's kind of the same scenario as what happens over here when I subtract 3x from both sides, and I end up with something like 2 is equal to negative 7. It can't happen. So this has no solution. All right? Okay, moving along. Well, 2 pages left. Trying to break these up into short segments for you guys so that you're not, spending a ton of time. All right. Mia enlarged the plan for an outdoor stage. The original plan is shown below. Boom, boom, boom. She dilated by the scale factor of 4 with the center of dilation at the origin. Okay? Which ordered pair would be one of the new vertices? So you're dilating by a scale factor of 4, which means you're multiplying these by 4. So if I multiply coordinates by 4, really I just got to multiply by 4. So this would be what? Negative 24 and 16. Actually, we just did this problem recently. I think it was on that WOW that I did with you guys a week or so back. This would be 32, 16. This would be negative 24, negative 8, and this would be 32, negative 8. And then it comes down to just matching which one of these coordinates would be it. So 32, 16. The answer to this would be B. All right. Wait, 2 more in this segment. All right. Oh man, another one of these. All right. How many times as much is the number of songs that Nick sold to the number of songs that Bianca sold? All right. So Nick is 4. Hopefully, this is like the 3rd one I've done, but hopefully if you see this a few times, you start to figure out that this is a 1 with 6 zeros after it. Okay? That's what the exponent means. Exponent with the power of 10 just means number of zeros. So this is really 4 million. 1, 2, All right. Bianca is 8 10 to the 5. So this would be an 8 with 5 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it wants to know how many times. So basically, what would I multiply 800,000 by to get 4 million? Well, you do the opposite of multiplying, which is divide. So if I divide, okay, now let me show you this. Actually, I can't because I don't have the actual calculator that you guys would use, but you can do this on a calculator. But I think for right now, it might be just easiest to just forget this. Second, quit. All right. So I'm going to take 4 million, 4 with 6 zeros, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to divide that by an 8 with 5 zeros, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I get an answer of 5, so the answer to this is 5. All right, and then number 30, which is not a function. Remember, not a function. Definition of a function, one number goes in, you get exactly 1 out. So 1 goes in, only 1 output. All right. So the answer is D. Remember, you got an input of 3 giving you a 0 and an input of 3 giving you negative 4. Now this one's okay because you are allowed to have multiple outputs being the same. Because each input has its own. Like 1 has 1, 2 has 1, 3 has 1. But there isn't another like. So what you're looking for is 2 of the same input. Have the same input giving you 2 different outputs. All right, with that being said, that's the end of this segment, and Mr. Sims is signing off at this moment.